like that's when you start seeing people that like call out or they get busy or they have to reschedule sessions and then they're just not being, they get a little shady at times where it's just like, hey, I can't this week. Like, are you on next week? And it's like, it's no longer a priority because it's like they don't see it as fun.
Welcome to the podcast, guys. Today we are talking about whether it's more important for clients and just gym goers for enjoying the gym or making progress in it. Today we're going to find out really what's the nitty-gritty. Is it more important to have fun or make progress? Tyler, what are your thoughts, my man? Tell me about it. How you doing?
Which one is it? Is it how am I doing or I'm just kidding.
I
I'm
don't know.
still
I'm
fucking
running
with
off
you.
of 4 hours of sleep here there, but I'm barely here. Let's start off with how you
I
doing, then
know.
we'll circle into the topic
Yeah.
maybe.
No, I just gotta warn the audience for this episode. This is gonna be so fun because oh
Oh,
my god,
it's gonna be
I've
rough. It's gonna be
it's
real
gonna
rough.
it's just been a long week. I already kind of told you a little bit about it, but for you, you're on the same end. It sounds like
Fine.
uh, it's just been back to back 7 hours every day with clients, just stacked from 6 a.m. till 1 o'clock with absolutely no breaks. By the end of it, like I'm just so exhausted. I just get in my car and I'm like, I don't even know if I can go work out. Like I'll come home, maybe fall asleep, go back to doing the same thing the next day, and it's been draining. Then outside of
I
that, with the
understand.
AA and with meetings and all that, it's just been bleh.
Dude, people don't understand like how brutal like training people can really be taxing wise. Especially like
Yeah.
7 in an entire day. Like I think most people will hear you worked a 7 hour day. It's like toughen up, Buttercup. Who cares? 7 hours of training people in person. You're
Yeah.
you're in your car staring at your steering wheel for a half an hour before you can drive. You're
Yeah.
so burnt out.
I mean, there's different types of trainers. The ones that, fake it till you make it. They'll show up, maybe got 4 hours of sleep. They have no plan and they're just gonna like throw somebody through a workout. It's not really thought through. And then there's like people like us who like show up and it's like, dude, we're so attentive to every situation. It's like I can go without eating for 5 hours and I'll be 100% locked in with clients. I might be like have like one point where I'm just like, oh, I probably should drink water before I pass out. But it's like I need to be involved and 100% there, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is. And then once it's done, it's like it comes back to me like, oh right, I didn't eat anything. I'm dehydrated and I'm just exhausted now.
Dude, that's such a big part of why I think trainers suffer for such burnout, more so than, say, a lot of other industries do. Because when you're in that hour, it's not just an hour of counting reps and like kind of shooting the breeze. You're so engaged, so on. But all right, that's a topic for another day on talking about burnout. I know we've covered it in
Yeah.
previous episodes. But
Yeah, who
today,
cares? Let's move on. Let's talk about our topic. Yeah.
no one cares about trainers. Like
Nobody cares
let's all
about
be on the same
us.
page. No, we're here to help you get your goals. If we maybe sneak off to the PT locker room to sob cry a couple times,
All
that's
right.
between us and our God.
All right.
But anyway, moving on. So I feel like in fitness, there's this perpetuating idea of that if you make progress, you'll stay motivated, and if you stay motivated, you'll stick with fitness. But I've quite frankly never really found that to be the case. That
Yeah.
someone who's making all the progress in the world, if they're not having fun and learning to enjoy this stuff, they it doesn't matter if they've lost 50 pounds and they have another 20 to go, they'll give up. I mean, has that been your experience or kind of what's your stance?
Well, so my position is, I'm not really the weight loss guy, right? I know that's like, primarily the people that you get. It's like, you get the people with nutrition, weight loss is their goal. They want to look better in a bathing suit. For me, I get the people who's like, hey, like I just want to be in the gym. I want to move correctly. I want to make sure I'm doing things right and stuff that I can do for like a long period of time. They are the I just need a routine people, which they don't really know exactly what their goal is. They just know that it's like this is where I want to be. Now, those people, they either have had previous gym experience or they're very fresh to the gym experience. Either way, at some point in their life, fitness was not a part of their goals and it wasn't really thought as something that they needed at the time. This is a total switch. And something that is new, it is at first exciting, but if it doesn't continue the challenge and keep your brain like interacting with it, 90% of the people you can get results, whether it's weight loss or it's like, hey, you're doing a little bit better. But as far as the training part, the one-on-one, the working with somebody, if they're not at least having a little bit of fun with you, why come? I don't know. Maybe there's like some people who just like, I like to come to be verbally abused and then like I leave.
I agree with that. But I feel like there has to be some element of a balance back and forth. And we could talk about it in terms of weight loss, which is, of course, like my happy place to talk about. But
Yeah.
I found that with performance athletes, you could have somebody that's training for some show, some event, some competition. And even though they're making these great strides, eventually just that mental thing turns off and they just don't care anymore if they're
Yeah.
not having some element of fun involved with it. And I think a lot of that is you just have to bring that fun into your sessions a lot. But
Well,
why
if
is it?
if I think about the general population versus those who are avid gym goers or the gym rats, right? Hobbies or things that you do outside. Like when we are a trainer and we ask them like, "Oh, do you have any hobbies?" We don't think in our minds that gym is a hobby. We think it's a necessary thing that you need to do in order to function in normal society. Realistically, for other people who are coming in, this is their new hobby. This is their new thing. They're getting new outfits. They're getting little shakers. They're gonna go buy some protein powders. They're kind of getting themselves up, just like if they're gonna go golfing. They're gonna get some golf clubs. They're gonna get some new golf shoes. Like this is their new hobby. This is their new thing of interest and fun, a socially acceptable thing. So they're looking for a creative environment where they can kind of express themselves and be a new person or become a new person. And that a lot of the time, that personality match leads into where people get to be, they get to be kind of a little bit more improving of their, I don't know, self-awareness, like, and just their aesthetics in the gym.
A
Like,
little
they
self
can,
growth. It goes
yeah,
beyond just the physical sense of it. It's that person's entire ideology, their identity as someone. Is that kind of what you're saying?
yeah, they're changing that. Like initially off the bat, they're completely changing that. The
I like that.
consistent balance of that is when you have somebody who's been going. This is the client who's been with you, which we can talk about later, 3 or 6 months, and you have to continue keeping their interest. If they stop having fun and it just becomes like, hey, I've got that training session at 10 o'clock I'm supposed to go do with Ryan or with Tyler. It's like, oh, like I'm kind of dreading it. Like that's when you start seeing people that like call out or they get busy or they have to reschedule sessions and then they're just not being they get a little shady at times where it's just like, hey, I can't this week. Like, are you on next week? And it's like, it's no longer a priority because it's like they don't see it as fun. It's not a hobby of interest. So,
They fall out of love with it, and you go from being this confidant, this person that can help facilitate the thing that they're there for, to now you're just now you're just the vice principal. You're there to just punish and be this driver of, hey, you need to do this work.
yep.
Dude, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And have you had any experience with clients where they've almost fallen out of love with the process with you? Where, yeah, they're still showing up, they're still paying you, they're
Mm.
still your very dedicated client, but man, does that guy not want to be there anymore?
Yeah. I mean, I've had people where it's just like they just the consistent question is like it's kind of when they're getting towards the end of a package session, which I know you don't like the whole package count, but it's like, hey, so how many more do I have left? It's kind of like that's kind of like their incentive is saying like, hey, like when am I done with you? So I
Oof.
can be done with this. And it's just I no skin off my back, man. Like I've gotten you to your goals. Your goal is to get good at this. We've gotten that improvement. Yeah, like most of the time it's a sayonara, and like most of the time those people will call me back up and be like, hey, kind of tried on my own. I think I want to come back on. I had a lot of fun with you, and that's my goal. Again, and when we think about this from the hobby sense, and people they come into the gym. often what happens even for us as trainers, what happens when we have a really good workout after it's been a long week and maybe we weren't really good to ourselves or we ate something wrong and our diet's off, but we hit a good workout. Oh my gosh, the freaking euphoria, the stress, all that, excitement, that relief, like it's just like it's orgasmic. It's great. So, when we provide an
Okay,
experience like that, no,
okay, Arnold.
I
The pump is like I'm coming. It's orgasmic.
oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, what do you want? It's like a
I agree
feeling of,
with it. I
I
mean,
don't know,
sometimes it's more gratifying. I'm gonna certainly tell you that.
like gratifying, orgasmic, cosmos abnormality. I don't. What do you want from me? All right, we're both sleep
Abnormality.
deprived. I don't know.
I'm just
It's
giving you a hard
exciting.
time, man. But I agree with you, and
I'm
I like
coming.
the.
It's like
Uh,
I'm coming multiple times.
Dude,
So
we're
gross.
gonna have to go critique some Arnold workouts at some time and really just piss the internet off.
Oh
But
yeah.
pick
Oh.
the internet's favorite weightlifter. Let's shit on him. Like that's gonna go great.
Oh yeah. Nice. Cool.
No, but I
Uh,
like how you talked about it with the hobby sense because I do not in any way have this vision of working out as a hobby.
right.
Like I don't view it as that. It's this ingrained essential need like within
Mhm.
me to go do these things. So like when someone says hobby, my first thought is no. That's my left arm. This is an essential part of my life to go forward, but that's not people. People
Yeah.
view weight loss as a hobby, as a phase of life, this thing that I'm doing right now that I won't necessarily be doing later. And we could get into the economy of whether that's a good way to view fitness, which it's not, but that ideology of this being a hobby for people, I really like that a lot. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
things conceptually make a little bit more sense to me. I mean,
Well,
how do you view fitness?
uh, of course. I mean, it's life or death. I was just talking to somebody recently, like a client. They're like, "Hey, like, what's the longest you've ever gone without working out?" I'm like, besides injury, I don't know, 5 days. Like, I,
Maybe.
I've, I've, I've definitely had weeks where I've worked out maybe once or twice in a week, but I've never, since I've been, I don't know, 13 years old and learned what a gym was. It's been consistent. I mean, if I were the average, I'd say I've gone twice a week my whole life since 13. If I just average, I mean, there's definitely weeks where it's been fucking 6 days a week working at the gyms. Of course, definitely brings the average up. But yeah, it is. It is a hobby still in a sense that I look at it as something I enjoy and I have fun with, and I take my free time to go do. So if I were to, look at it as a category, it's it is still a hobby. If I just did what was necessary for survival or to like in general to be like a fit average human being and to live longevity, if it was like, hey, this is essentially, it'd be like, hey, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna do some push-ups, some slight weight training, and just do that consistently in 30 minutes, an hour a day, great. And that's just a need. But I like Olympic lifting. I like to do pull-up challenges. I like to, do some stuff that's kind of like off the walls because it's fun for me. Um, Other people enjoy going golfing. Some people like playing tennis. If somebody's like, "Hey, let's go have a tennis match." I'd be like, "I've got to go hit a lift," because like that's how excited I am. I get giddy about it. It's pretty fun for me.
That is a little bit of a contrast to like how I view or how I feel about fitness. Like if I'm to be entirely honest,
Right.
like I can't tell you. Maybe on one hand, the amount of workouts I've done in my whole life that were just for fun. Like it has
Oh,
always been for purpose, always been for outcome. Like I am here to do this, so this can accomplish this, so then I can go do this. Like
yeah,
the idea of just working out for, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go into the gym and pick some shit up, or like, oh dude, let's go deadlift today
yeah.
randomly. Like, I get that people do that, and I get that that's an element, and it's totally fine for that to be that way. But like, absolutely not. Like I can think of really honestly one or two examples, and then maybe like another couple that were like, oh, I have to work out for fun, but this is work. This is why I'm working out, is I'm doing this fun workout because I have to do it for my career, not
Yeah.
because I want to go mess around with a kettlebell for an hour and a half. Like, no.
Well, this kind of leads into one of the topics for the pros and cons section. So this would be kind of like a part of the cons where it comes to when you're just working out or you're doing fitness for fun is if there is no, like you're saying, result-based programming, it can be very inconsistent in the levels of intensity, right? Do you agree
Mhm.
or disagree?
Oh, I completely agree. It would go
Okay.
back and forth here and there. You'd feel good some days and have the most insane workout of your life, and then you'd have a bad day and you feel like crap, right?
Right. So it's kind of like, and you can't really track, if you're just going in there and you're just, hey, today is doing, chest and I'm feeling I'm gonna hit these numbers and I don't really know where I'm at in volume. I'm not in a phase of doing this with strength. Is not no volume of sets that are prescribed. I am just going in there, going bare knuckle and hitting it. Like unless you're writing it down somewhere, like if you got 3 reps at 225 and then the next week got 3 reps at 235 and you had some form of tracking, it's just very inconsistent in the levels of intensity and it wouldn't be, the best way for growth over a period of time,
I agree with
right?
that. No, that's very, very accurate. I feel like that person with just some degree of tracking, some degree of historic norms, and then looking to see progress in the future. I mean, that to me is already someone who's leaps and bounds above someone in the gym. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people get into fitness with this idea of achieving these very specific outcomes. Like, all right, I want to have shredded abs in 6 months. Okay, that's doable. But
Yeah.
how you're going to get there, yeah, we don't get to have fun. Like, we don't get to walk into workouts like, I just kind of want to train abs and like just have some fun today. Well,
Yeah.
you can do that, but I don't think you're going to get this hyper specific outcome. Or I want to increase my snatch by 50 pounds over the next 3 months.
Right.
Okay, like we can do that, but there's very specific things that we have to do to get there. So I feel it's people have these expectations that they want it to be fun, but they still want the outcomes that come from having hyper specific that specific programming that's quite frankly more progress oriented than it is fun. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't have
Well,
a good answer for any of it, but
yeah. Well, when you're talking about having fun though, all right, let's lay back into the term of like having fun. Is this banter that you're having with a client? Is this conversation based? Is this more like functional with what your movements are consisted of? Like, are we doing like throwing wall or doing wall ball actions or doing like, I don't know, clapping push-ups in the sense of we're doing fun movements?
mhm.
Or what when you say like, having fun in a session, what does that mean?
Well, fun in a session is easy answer with that is it's defined by the person in front of you. Some people like to have this massive cycle of things going back and forth where something's always new. Something's always exciting, some new thing that they're doing because they get that fatigue, that attention fatigue, and they
Hmm.
need to have a constant change in stimulus. Other people, it's we need to have fun. And that's conversation, that's joking, and that's your art as a trainer and just making sure you have energy walking into a session.
Mm,
That part I feel is relatively easy to do. But when you start talking about subbing entire workouts out to, all right, I don't want to do my squat workout today because I want to go play pickleball with my friends. Totally.
right.
That's so cool. I love pickleball and I love that for a long-term activity. Oh, I want to play pickleball with my friends, but I also want to have a very well-defined glutes. Well, that's not going in that direction. So do you
Right.
want to have fun or do you want to make progress towards your goal? Which one? So I think that's more of the thing I'm trying to skate the difference between.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. if you had it be very specific to the client, like yes, it is our job. When I think fun, I think when somebody's coming into a session, I think Julio said it best. Honestly, when we had him on, it was really awesome. But he kind of said it best. It's like when somebody comes to the session, I take a second, I look at him and be like, hey, I'm glad you're here. I want to respect your time. This is your time. This is your space. We're here to make sure that you're like we're gonna make tracking and progress. Like he just kind of like he sets like that tone, that boundary. Like, hey, we're here to leave everything at the door. This is your time. This is your like point to kind of take your space. Like I'm here for you and all support to just kind of like give that like level of boundary.
Mm,
Like for me, it's a little bit different. Like I come in with my energy, I'm definitely more of a bubbly person. Like, hey, what's up? Like, how's the week? Great. Like, crack a joke, maybe get something, like get a smile out of them because I want to make sure that they're at ease, that they leave everything away, that whatever's going on in the outside life, here's Tyler to take me away from it into the freaking beyond in this workout. And I just after that point, it's like, hey, all right, we're back to what we were doing. We're progressing off what we did last week. You're still on the seated squats. Let's see what you've done. We're looking to progress. And like then it's like back to the action, right? That's the boring stuff.
hmm
So when I'm thinking like having fun, to me the sense of like having fun is that person's kind of like gonna leave smiling and feeling better than when they arrived, right? So there is a fine line though, right? Wouldn't you agree is that there's a point where um the potential of having too much fun with a client can lead to a lack of focus, which is I think what you're trying to get at is a lack of focus towards their goals.
Which, yeah, yes, in a way. Like I'm with you that in the session, our job is to, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through progress and that achieves gratification for them, and they feel good from that, or it's laughter and they feel good from that, or I was finally able to unload this issue I've been having with my husband, and they let that go in that session with you. You're always trying to give them something that they're looking for so they walk away feeling good. I completely agree with that.
Yeah,
More of what I'm trying to get is I really do honestly believe that the average gym goer, the average client, the average person that's pursuing fitness has this kind of almost lofty idea of I can achieve this whilst also still having a significant amount of fun and living my life. And yeah, no, I'm really trying to diet down. Again, that's just my world, but I still want to party on weekends. All right, well, that's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Oh, I want to train to run a marathon, but mm, every other week I really don't want to run. I want to go do Zumba with my girlfriends. That's not going to work. I'm sorry. If you want to go do Zumba with your girlfriends, I love that. That's such a great social activity, and like I've actually started prescribing things like Zumba or cardio kickboxing to people because it is so fun. But you
right.
don't get to go after that hyper specific outcome of the marathon or to be able to do a handstand push up, whatever, without specific styles of training that you have to do to achieve it.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, unless you're like willing to devote like 6 hours a day towards like your training and outside of that, do parts of your fun and also take a lot of consideration to your recovery. And if you're adding on more, of course, if you add on more exercise, you got to add on more recovery or specific exercise to keep your body moving properly in that functional training. But yeah, if you want to go out and take the Zumba class, but your goal is to deadlift 405 pounds, probably not going to be a good substitute to like take the Zumba class that night versus, doing the leg workout that is required. So, yeah, in some sense, there has to be like almost that rigidness of the routine, that kind of that boring sensation of like, fuck, this is what needs to get done,
Oh my
not what I
God. You said
want
my
to get
favorite
done.
word. You said my
Yeah,
favorite word, Tyler. Boring.
what boring. I mean,
I really do believe a process should be relatively, I don't want to say
yeah,
monotonous, but like, all right, I've got my five things. Let's just get
yeah.
these done and let me then go hang out with my friends. Let me then go do my stuff.
Realistically, with a lot of the clients that I've had, honestly, the more of the boring stuff or the things that they need to get done, I don't really get complaints about. Like when somebody's like, "Hey, we've already done this. Like, we try something new." That's a very rarity for me. People honestly already trust that I know what I'm doing. They know where their progress is. I'm very hyper, active with telling them where they are in their steps and what's going to be next for them. So I'm pretty active and just like letting them be aware of what's happening. And then, I'm not afraid to be like, hey, if we're still here because you're not doing this outside of here, like, and this is what the workouts will continue to be. And if you don't like it, like, I got nothing for you. Like, you're welcome
Mhm.
to go out and try it on your own. But this is what we're doing because this is where you're at. And if you'd like to do better, you got to do more on your own, or purchase more sessions and see me 4 times a week. I don't know what to do with you. Um,
I get that for like when you're working with a trainer, like I understand that part of it.
yeah.
Like again, like the onus for a client having success and us giving the session that they want is on us. So I agree with you
Mhm.
wholeheartedly there. I'm
Here,
more kind of putting it out to, all right, what does actually matter to the average person in the gym, which the average person in the gym is not a client, unfortunately.
yeah.
They should be. I
Well,
mean, let's just all be on the same page. But
I was slowly rounding to the idea that it's not always my clients, but you know who it is? It's honestly children. It's kids that I've coached, or, they do not want to do the same stuff. They want to be challenged in multiple different ways. They don't like doing the boring stuff because they're like, oh, I want to do this. And they always have an idea of like, oh, that would look fun, or this is what they saw on TikTok. I'm just like, you know, we're not doing that. Like, but I'll make compromises. I'll be like, if we get through what we have today, at the end, we can go try that. Just to keep that sense of like fun. Because if I don't, then I'm creating, a not a balanced sense of fun with, this rigid program that they have to do for success. They don't have the mental awareness, a lot of them, to say like, okay, this is what needs to get done. I'm gonna keep doing this until it's finally perfect. It's kind of that's our principle.
I get that. Another classification that I personally struggle with is weirdly the uh, 50s to early 60s female weight loss clients tend
Mm,
to need significant changes in stimulus often. Like there
mm,
there has to be like 4 to 6 weeks is about how long they can stick on a program before you
right.
start to see this person kind of wander off into the clouds, so to speak.
Yeah.
Have you experienced anything similar with that, with that same age classification for like rehab and performance?
Um, I mean, most of the time, my units are usually cycling every 4 to 6 weeks. Is I don't have too many people that I stick on a 12-week, like, hey, this is progressive, unless it's focused specifically for barbell. Um, honestly, like most of the people that I have, they're like, by the time they hit a month with me, I get bored. They get bored. They get proficient. And unless it's like where they are just trying to build like on specific principles where it's like, hey, you honestly can't move your hips. We're continuing to learn how to squat, and this is going to take 3 to 6 months. Um, with the women that I've trained, for the people that are in their 30s or 40s, yeah, I mean, they definitely, but they're more persistent, I gotta tell you. Like there's the ones that are definitely like when they're in the little 40 to 50 range, they want results, and when they're paying for it out of pocket and they got their kids in school and they're showing up in between the hours that they're dropping them off, and this is their only hour that they have available. Their priority list. This is like keep my children alive, keep keep my car filled with gas, my training. Like
Yeah,
there's a list, and we're pretty high on that list when it comes to those hours.
I would agree with that. But I feel like there's this like switch that flips when in like the dichotomy of importance. I feel like the person at 40 spent the last 10 years, rearing kids, like going, the moment I have the time or the ability to go pursue this thing, I'm
Hmm.
going to do it. Versus I kind of feel like the person in their 50s or 60s that waited to do it then is much more, and this isn't to like totally just shit on like one age classification. It's just You start to get averages of how certain people act in certain situations. So you start to be able to get an informed opinion about how to operate there.
Yeah.
I just really feel that that group waits so long and they keep putting it off and there keeps being another excuse, another reason why they can't do it. And another thing,
Yeah.
eventually, it's not about chasing progress anymore. It's, well, I need something to catch their attention more than I actually need the progress to happen.
Oh, I, it's not for me totally the comp or say on, but it's also an area where women are going through menopause, and with all the hormone treatment and all the things that are being pushed out, and that people are hearing, and then their social circles, and then they start trying like this drug, and it's like, oh my girlfriends are doing this, or they said I should take this class, and it's like they're all looking for like an answer or like a solution to a problem that is pretty easy, which is just like, hey, let's track your numbers of your diet. Let's watch what you're eating. Let's figure out where your stress levels are. Make sure you're sleeping properly. All the boring stuff, your keyword. It's like, and they don't want to hear that. They want to hear like, well, when I was in my 20s, I could still go out with my friends and we drink and we have fun and I lost all this weight and I did the metafast diet or I did like I would did
And
in my
manifest.
third yeah in the 30s I did not eating breakfast or I only ate between the 5 hours. I did the fasting and it's like, okay, like you're not there anymore. Like you
Not
can't
life.
want to achieve a body that you're no longer in. You're in your body now. We need to look at this presentation that's in front of us. And a lot of the times that's not clicked in the head yet. It's like I still have all these principles I want to go back to achieve a body that was was there prior. Like all the experiences leading to where you are now never happened.
Like that. And I feel like this is kind of circling back to where everything's starting to kind of fit in together.
Yeah.
And like with everything in training, you have to play the person in front of you. So it's always going to be an individualized experience with everyone where it is the trainer's job to show up and bring the fun, bring the energy. And it's also our job to understand that, hey, this person might be more fun oriented than they are progress oriented. Or this person might be more progress oriented than they are fun oriented. And how you can structure programs is going to shift on that. And
Yeah.
hmm, I don't know.
Well,
It's
the
interesting.
one thing the one thing that you don't want to have happen though is if you are the fun trainer and you end up kind of taking over somebody's like, their world and you start to progress and you start implementing the principle like, oh, this person's just here to chit chat and they have fun. But it comes down the line and then they come back and remember, wait a second, I came to you because I wanted to get like the shoulder pain gone. And we just were doing wall ball slams. Like, how is that helping my hurt shoulder? Like if it is at a certain point where your approach to having fun, still you gotta keep that level of professionalism and remembering what their original goals were and relaying that to them. And if it changes on their end, then you can kind of like maybe step back and say, okay, well, originally you said I don't want to be having this pain in my shoulder, and but now you're saying you'd rather be doing the rope swings because you have fun doing that. Like, where are the priorities? Like, that's where you got to step back as a trainer and figure that out. The last thing you want to do is have them come to you and say, "Hey, I really like our sessions. I have fun with you. But like, remember when I said I wanted to learn about the machines? We've done nothing but functional movements, and I don't know how to do these on my own. Can we do that?" Like that just makes you look like an idiot.
Oh yeah, like you're not even there facilitating the need in which you were hired. That's when
Right.
trainers instill their own values onto their clients, and that trainer's values supersede what the client actually came for. Which every trainer I feel like has done that once, and like just
Mm.
been like ceremoniously fired, and you're like, oh, this person came here to learn about how to do the leg press, and I've got them doing walking lunges.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder that person didn't want to work with me anymore, even though I might have been right. Yeah, that person came in here for something, and you're like, oh, you came in here to see the Ford? Let's go take a look at the Dodge Ram. Like, what? No, I came here for that thing, man. What are we doing here?
Here's a Kia Soul you might be interested in. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with this? Yeah. I get your metaphor. I like that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I've definitely been keen on that, but here's like, one thing I started doing, originally is, I always take really key notes when I'm in my first session with somebody because I'm not gonna remember anything, right?
no, you can't.
I'm writing down every word that they said. Oh, this person, left shoulder, blah blah blah. And then when it comes to like on a client's folder, I write down the key points on the top outside of the folder, what they wanted, what their injuries are, date, sign, that's there. So every time I pick up that person's folder, I see it. It's not a hidden sheet. It's not in the back of it. They have the workout papers, and then like this is like I have to go digging through it. It's like, hey, I see this person, their hip had pain, her glute was not active. That needs to be approached. And then immediately when I see that person, hey, chit chat, chit chat. Great. Hey, how's your glute feeling? How's your hip feeling? Okay, it's not attacking mobility. How are you doing your stretches? And I dive into it. So I keep that their goal is at the front of my mind and that I am attacking that as an atmosphere until it's gone, until I can cross that off my list. Then it's the next thing.
How often do you
That's
reassess that in your own practice with the clients?
I mean, I'm reassessing it every day, honestly.
Attaboy.
Like it's yeah, it's not like I give it a time period. It's every single day. And like, that's the primary issue. If somebody is restricted, because like I said, I describe training as a posture correction specialist. If something is restricting them from being able to move their body correctly in an open space, then that's the area I'm attacking. That's where we're going to. And every day that they walk through those doors, hey, how's your spine? Has it opened up? Great. Let's get on the ground. Okay. Are you foam rolling? Nope. Cool. You've been playing basketball? That's terrible. All right. Well, that's not gonna help. Let's move on. Like,
That might be watching this that doesn't have clients. That's literally how a session starts. All right, so how'd sleep go last night? Oh, you didn't really sleep at all last night. Well, did you try to go to bed earlier? Oh, you didn't. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, so how'd pre-workout food go? Oh, you didn't have it. Oh, well, all right. Well, that fuck me then. Okay, how'd the mobility you were supposed to show up 30 minutes beforehand to do in the warm up? Oh, you just got here. Oh, well, all right. Well, I'm pretty much fucking useless here.
yeah. It is. It's like it's so funny that you say that because I mean every one of my sessions today, except for one dude, there's just everybody had like some type of thing, like like hey, like did you get off the elliptical and use the bands? No, I was on here for 20 minutes again. I know I should have done the band stuff. Let's go do it now. I'm like, okay, let's
All
go do
right,
that.
let's just do
Like,
it. That's what I want to do today. Or you show
yeah,
up for a session, someone's supposed to have like a 10-minute cardio warm up, and
yeah,
they're just starting. You're like, well, all right, I guess I'm gonna sit here and watch you on the fucking treadmill, I guess.
yeah. Or like
Woohoo!
another client, it's like, hey, today's our poll with the lower body. Like, did you foam roll your hamstrings and glutes? Oh, you did your intermittent, high intense sprinting intervals yesterday that you weren't supposed to really do at full capacity yet, and you strained your hamstring a little bit. So, okay, yeah, yo, no, fuck my whole plan today. Let's do something else. Like, I,
We love our clients,
toddlers,
we love
toddlers.
people, but sometimes they're toddlers. All right, let's circle back because I do want to put a little bit more of a concise bow on the how to navigate fun and progress, what
Okay,
matters more in what situations. And really, I feel like kind of what we came up to is we need to assess what matters to the client in front of us often. Would you agree with
yeah,
that?
yeah.
And
I
then
would
we
say that's
need to make
primary.
primary.
Yeah, I mean it's primary. It's got to be the front of our mind as well as the front of their mind, and it's our job as a professional to keep it as a vision
Mm.
for them.
Make sure that they're still working towards the thing that matters to them, even though from time to time, and I'm sure you've experienced this,
Yep.
where clients sometimes go squirrel. We get they get so sidetracked by things where I want to pursue better cardio when they're trying to lose weight, or they're trying to get better strength when they're trying to get rid of pain, or X, Y, and Z. You can kind of fill in the blank. And I think a lot of it is we do have to sometimes go, hey, I know you want to get a 60-inch vertical leap. Fantastic.
Hmm.
But we're not really doing that right now. Are you okay with us doing that after the thing that we're done, and kind of keeping the
Yeah,
continued vision alive? But all right, we have
yeah,
to assess often, and it is a primary thing that a trainer has to keep in mind. We do have to sometimes scoot people back into the lane of what they're trying to do. And from there, it's show up to the session and just try to have as much fun when you're pursuing, say, more boring, monotonous tasks like, say, structured training in the long term.
yeah. Is if you ignore those things and you allow this person to just, pay you money, show up, and you're just there to joke around, you're not doing a good service to them, right?
Yep.
Is over a long period of time when they finally come to the realization, like, hey, I just spent the last 3 months paying this guy. I have fun, but I haven't really seen the results. You're gonna get fired, and
100%.
that person's not gonna be like give like, oh, he's the best. Like, oh well, he was a great trainer, is what you're gonna get. He's a great trainer. I love him. I love, I feel like we're good friends. Like, you're not gonna get the man. This guy got me the results. Like, he definitely kept it in the plays. He held me accountable. Like, at a certain point, you gotta change that separation of friendships because it's a business for you. I'm thinking about it because I'm bringing it up because I had somebody this week who texted me at 9 o'clock the night before, and I was like, to cancel a session, right? She like it was like, hey, my shoulder's not feeling this. Listed all these reasons about it. I didn't see it till the next morning. I wake up in the morning, I see this text message. I was like, all right, you're gonna go get an MRI, go get this thing checked out. Great. I will remove our regular scheduling. I will see you when I see you. Keep me in the loop. Later that day, I get a text message. Hey, it looks like you redeemed the session. Like, did I get charged for today? I'm like, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
you texted me at 9 o'clock the night before, and then you decided to call off a session. So that's within 24 hours. Like, I got a business to run. I can't do that. And she's like, well, do I need to show a doctor's note? And I'm like, it's not a
uh,
doctor's note. Like, out of respect for me and for my time, like, is there a reason that you waited till 9 p.m.? Well, I just thought maybe it'd go away. I'm like, well, look, you should have kept
you
me
were
in the loop.
wrong.
You should have kept me in the loop. That would have been a conversation we would have had, on Monday or Tuesday if you were thinking it was going to get canceled. That's like, that's the level of like accountability that we have to have. I could have been a good friend right there, and that would have been doing her a disservice of saying like, oh, oh, I'm so sorry about your shoulder. Yeah, let's take off the session. We can always reschedule that because it's not putting accountability on. She'd still said that she was going to do the upper body workout or something about this. I'm just like, you're obviously just don't want to show up. You're a once a week client. Like,
Yeah,
you don't want to come. I get it. Like, but I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm not going to you waste my time either. So show
done
up
some
next
similar
time.
things like that where I I make it very clear to people kind of early on the onset, and I'm sure you do too. And it doesn't matter. People will still try to kind of do those things because people got a
Yeah,
lot of stuff going on. I mean, I used to get really, I don't want to say offended, but I used to feel
yeah,
very disrespected by it when I'd get like a message, like the 9 p.m. text message. Hey, boss,
yeah,
can't make it to the 5 a.m. training session. It's like, well, that sucks. Uh, I'm still charging you for that. That's happening. That's just life.
yeah,
But I feel like people just they have this expectation of how training is supposed to go, and
yeah,
when that expectation doesn't match, they have a really hard time coming to terms with it. And that's just again having those continual conversations that I don't think you can have often enough to
yeah,
reaffirm what your cancellation policy is, reaffirm what someone's goal is, how we're doing things, the expectation for warming up, the expectation for post and pre-workout. Like there's a
yeah.
lot of things that we have to keep kind of talking to clients about.
Sometimes it's dropping the hammer down. It's like letting them know, like, hey, you will not get the results you're looking for. And it could be just like a really tough conversation where it's just like maybe at the end of a workout where it's like, hey, hey, I love the energy today, but look, you're not doing the things that are required of you. Like, what is preventing you from doing this, and how can I be of help? But as far as like the principles when it comes to like 24-hour cancellations, you got to be just. very set at the beginning. Like
Go on.
I even said like in a text message when we were kind of going this back and forth, I said, hey, what's done is done. However, moving forward, I love a good learning experience. So is there anything I could have done to have set that principle and to be of more clear guidelines at the beginning of our training?
I
Just
like
like
that.
earlier, I'm not gonna give you it back. Like that's it's gone. It's gone. But I mean, was there something I could have done that, did I make it seem like it was gonna be okay? Like I don't know where it came from that somebody would think it's okay. And it kind of puts it back in her head like, well, I thought you'd be fine with it. It's like, well, see,
No,
I'm not your friend. Like
thought
I'm your
wrong.
trainer. So like it was a good try. Definitely put
I
it
see
out
what you
there.
tried to do there, but yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a professional, man. Like I'm gonna hold you accountable. I could have filled that
Hey,
hour. I'm so stacked for time right now. Like I have people literally fighting for hours. I've had to tell multiple people like, "Hey, I'm too busy this week." And it's like that's where I'm at this point. I could open up another day, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
it's funny that you bring that point up with like reaffirming with people like, hey, is this working? Is this not working? I
Yeah.
pretty recently had a kind of come to Jesus moment with one of my online people, one of my personal clients, and she'd not done anything with us for nearly 2 months. Kept
Hmm.
showing up to calls, kept was communicating with me back and forth, and it's just this every week going, hey, let's say Jackie, we'll call him Jackie here. Jackie, hey, what's going on? It doesn't appear to be that you're doing anything. Oh, it's just been a rough couple weeks. I'm gonna get back on it, coach. Okay, can I help? No, I got it. All right, cool. Another couple weeks goes by. Again, messaging back and forth. Hey, why aren't you doing these things? Eventually, I had to kind of pull her aside, so to speak. It's literally just sitting right here doing what I'm doing right now. Um,
Pull the
Pulling someone
laptop
aside
aside.
in online coaching is a little less exciting than like pulling your client aside in the gym,
Is
by the way.
is like moving the screen over.
No, it's literally I'm just sitting here going, "Hey, Jackie, we're gonna have to have a conversation." So, Jackie, this is literally this. But it was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna keep training you if this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Do you need help? Do you need a better plan? Do I need to restructure this? Do we need to meet more often? Like, how do I get you from where you are to where you need to be?" But if I can't do that, whether it's you just don't like me, you don't like what we're doing, or maybe it's just a time of life for you to pursue fitness. Well,
Right.
by the end of it, quite frankly, she just was like, hey, I actually think you're right. I'm not ready to do this right now. And we canceled her training right then and there. But
Yeah.
having the willingness to have those kinds of conversations to reaffirm what someone's doing and where they are at in their journey is really what a trainer or a coach is there for. I feel in
Yes.
essence of keeping accountability going. But yeah, that's
You end
interesting.
up doing a disservice. Like I mean, there's most of the time when I create like a personal relationship with clients that are outside of the club, it's most of the time with clients that I'm not currently working with. Like I just went and rode a bike with a client this afternoon. I like worked 7 hours straight, fucking grabbed a burrito, met up with him. He's got these really nice bikes. He wanted to go on a bike ride. I haven't really worked with him in a while. I was like, yeah, dude, that sounds great. Like I'd love to get
Cool.
outside. So I rode
Yeah.
bikes with him. We're chit chatting about, BS, college days, and it's whatever. It's just, it's totally whatever. This isn't a client. I'm not looking to be a professional. This because I'm fine to be buddy buddy with him. I can break that barrier. When I see him on the gym floor, it's no longer like I'm trying to approach him like, "Hey, how's things doing?" It's like this is you're off my schedule. You're off my mind. We can be buddy buddy.
Mm,
But I don't really break that boundary when it comes to clients.
no,
Never.
you shouldn't.
Like if you do that, the moment that you do, it just you neglect to remember that that person looks at you as like an authoritative figure. And it's like when you're back in high school or back in elementary or whatever school, you called your teachers Mr. or Mrs. or Sir or ma'am. Like, or if you're in the military basis, you do that because there's this level of respect where they are a authoritative figure above you. And so when people see me, I don't want them to be like, hey, there's my buddy TJ who we just got drinks last night, or not obviously
Oh
not
yeah.
with me, but like
Yeah.
you don't want to have that because they lose the respect and the value of what you're trying to teach them on. So
I have a client that I've been training in person like 7 years. They're about a long, long, long time. Without fail, at least once or twice a month, he'll walk into a session and just go, "Hey man, you want to like blow this off? We can go get like tequila and like drinks and stuff." He's like, "I'm really not feeling it today." I'm like,
yeah,
"No, no, no, no. I'm not your buddy. I'm not your friend. Let's hop on the treadmill. You're here. This is what we're doing."
yeah.
All right.
Like it sucks to suck. Like this is what it is. But yeah, that's the friendship basis. It's like why I have a hard time like training friends. Like for
I
me, training friends, like I take it so not serious. Like Tommy here behind us, the man behind the scenes, have seen me when I've tried to like train him. I'm joking around, I'm fucking around. Right? It's not I'm not it's a very low stress environment. But like if I am teaching him something or principle, he's seen me on the other side of it where it's like, dude, I am very much in the zone, professional to a T. There is no joking around because I know that one, I can hurt this person if they remember how this is done, right? This is how I'm changing their life or their kinetic motions of their body forever. So I know I like to stem way off topic, but
No, it's an important topic to get into, and I do
so
think in some element it does kind of wrap everything up as having hard conversations and really reaffirming what someone wants from training.
yeah,
And it's as much as I don't like the idea of showing up to training for fun, because I feel like training devolves into just working out at that point, and we're just we're messing around. But that's a totally viable thing for someone to want from fitness. It's just our job as professionals to constantly try to make sure that, hey, you want fun, but do you want progress more? Because fun and progress aren't always going to be the same things. And sometimes we're going to have to choose some suck to get the thing you really want. And then we get to go have fun. But I think the
yeah,
takeaway from all of this and the advice to give is with your clients or with people going into gyms, understand what actually matters to you. Do you want to make progress or do you want to enjoy fitness and make it an essential part of your life? Which you can still get progress and enjoy it and find that. It's just not everything that's fun or that you want to do is going to be cohesive towards your goal. All right. I think this is a fantastic place for us to kind of put a wrap on it.
yeah.
Tyler, any last closing remarks or inspirational stories or words of wisdom, cookie cutter and all? What do you got for me?
If fitness is your hobby, if it is what you do for fun, remember, just like tennis or golf, you still have to hit the putting greens and you have to do the boring stuff. So that way, when you're out there on the field, you can be the champ. So sometimes you gotta do the very boring stuff.
I appreciate using boring there. Yeah,
I
I could
know.
feel
I did
that
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 on
was for me.
purpose.
I know. It felt
100%.
good.
So did on purpose. You're welcome.
Man, the boring fitness coach. I wonder what that is. You should Google that.
I'm
Anyway,
tired.
or maybe force set fitness if you want to like get some better posture. Who knows?
What's up, dude?
Oh my God.
Party as saw, dude.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. I know this is kind of an off the cuff episode. We have some more structured content coming up, but guys, if you have any questions or things that you want us to dive into, comment down below. Let us know what topics that we can cover and what guests you might like us to have on. Whether you're in a fitness journey, you're a trainer, you're a gym owner, it doesn't matter. We want to talk to people in the fitness industry and really kind of shed some light on to what all of this stuff is. But guys, this has been Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast. We love you, and we'll catch you here in the next one. Cheers.